It's often difficult to find your way amidst these highlight reels and success stories. I mean, there's so much pressure to succeed that what if the greatest pressure we face isn't success, but simply to exist as an ordinary person? In a world screaming with extraordinary people, or what appears to be that on our social media feeds and on mainstream media, the silent burden of the average person goes unseen. Today we're going to dive into these quiet struggles of those who are not destined for the spotlight and reveal the immense weight of simply living a life out of a constant pressure to pursue more. So my name is Shelby. I exist and I make stuff. If you're new here, make sure you check out our channel and all the links below. Subscribe and all that stuff. We really appreciate seeing you guys here. And I was just wondering if you guys have ever felt that creeping and subtle pressure to be someone that you're not, to constantly achieve and stand out or be extraordinary or be an outlier. We're often bombarded with success porn on social media, and it creates this unrealistic benchmark for personal achievement and happiness. Most people are average, to be honest, and most average people are not willing to do what it takes to become average, or even if they do, they're not really capable of going super well beyond that, like someone who is just born with talent. And some people who call themselves average are actually the ones that are the most realistic. It's the people who call themselves tens or run around tooting their own horn that are the most insecure. Accepting that you're average is the first step of success. And for me, no matter how hard I try, most people can become better than me. When I sit down and start to pursue something, I feel devastated by the fact that most people who do it will exceed at what I'm able to do, even if we're starting at the same level. I know I'll never be the best at anything, and that's just a fact. Unfortunately, the consequences of being average are severe in this society. You can't support a family on an average income these days, and being average is no longer enough to survive. Perfectionism comes from fear of being average. I think that even though most of us are average, we only see the highest 20% of the bell curve on social media. And it kind of distorts our view and it makes us feel left behind. But the desire to be naturally talented has never really gone away from me. I never got signed up for lessons to increase my skills as a kid. I never really did extracurriculars as a kid. I am mediocre, and even at the things that I'm good at, I'm not really that great. Most people severely underestimate how long it takes to get good at something, including me. And most people just want to party and drink or go out. And even though I don't party, drink, or go out, I have higher ambitions, but I really don't have anything to show for it. And I don't like being surrounded by, mediocrity and stuff. But to be honest, what else am I supposed to do? Because I'm basically just as bad as they are in a lot of ways. Your mind's goal is survival, not success. And I think this is a lot of times where we get stuck. If your life is just okay, or you have a level of contentment where your basic needs are met, your own mind will self-sabotage in order to keep you in this mediocre life because that's your baseline. Your brain will choose familiar mediocrity or choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar or risky success. Our minds don't like change, and we would honestly rather just do the same things we've always known to do rather than actually make changes. And the thing is, being mediocre is actually normal. Only 5% of the population exhibit who you see on your FYP. But the thing is, being mid is no longer something that results in a living wage or a sustainable lifestyle. It's dangerous to compare yourself to people who have support systems. That's just serious. I am sick and tired of being bullied by everyone who sees me going through hardship and then chooses to attack me because I'm already down. I get kicked when I'm down quite a bit. And some days it feels like I'm a caterpillar that simply became a larger caterpillar and never turned into a butterfly. I'm like a Pokemon that leveled up but never evolved. And I feel like success in life mostly is a personality contest. It doesn't matter what you know, it matters who you know. And it doesn't matter how much you work, it matters who your dad knows, who your dad is, his network, how deep it goes when it comes to your success. And even though I avoid smoking and drinking, I'm still behind people that do. And just to be honest with you, being average really sucks. If you do what everyone else does, you will receive average results, obviously. I honestly want to commit to change in order to live a life that I'm happy with. I didn't realize for years that people did see potential in me, but the people that saw potential in me were actually bullies. And they succeeded in snuffing out my potential and making me doubt myself because I didn't have any counterweight to counteract the bullying and put downs that I was receiving. Now, whatever potential I had wasn't protected, and now it's gone for good. I feel like it's almost too late for me to succeed at anything. Obviously, I'm still relatively young, but my brain is no longer as open-minded or easy to learn as it used to be. And I wish I could afford an average, simple life, and that's all I would really need. And the internet has made it clear that being in the middle is not acceptable, but being normal is, well, the norm, you know? Doing the bare minimum is the norm, but all you have to do to make is technically to make above average choices. But the last thing you want to do is be delusional. Accepting that you're not special is the first step to breaking out of the mold. And maybe I'm above average in certain ways. The average American is technically $7,000 in consumer debt and 30 pounds overweight. So in that way, I am kind of above that average. But it's important to realize that you are not an outlier in most ways. No one wants an average life, but most people don't want to make an above average choice to change their life. And I guess in a lot of ways, it's those daily choices that have kept me stuck for so many years. I don't know what it looks like to succeed in the way that I want to succeed because my parents' path did not work for me, and that's the only blueprint that I have. I know that good is not good enough, and I'm tired of settling. I'm tired of being so comfortable that my mind just wants to maintain my lifestyle as the way it is. I use so much of my time to whine and complain, and I'll admit that I've spent a lot of time feeling sorry for myself, but I really don't know what else to do or how to succeed. And maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I feel like boomers are the first generation who want their kids to do worse than them, at least on a subconscious level. Their advice has collectively steered our generation into a ditch, and boomers don't understand that it is no longer possible to be mid and survive, or you're fucked. Because back then, being mid was sustainable. You could become a millionaire by 70 if you just worked a factory job. Not anymore. You have no time for anything other than survival if you're mid. Hustle culture is also toxic. I mean, who decided that working 80 hours a week was acceptable? I don't want to work check to check, but I also don't want to live my life just to hustle. Why do people have to monetize every hobby without it being considered a waste of time? I wish we could just enjoy shit and not have to worry about money. But obviously that's not the reality that we live in. Contentment is the greatest wealth. Authenticity is more valuable than lying in a monkey suit and pretending and playing the corporate ladder game. And to be honest with you, sometimes I feel like the fruits of our labors isn't worth the squeeze. Hustle culture is an invention of capitalism. It's a social construct that favors the few just like everything else. There's a survivorship bias in hustle culture that I don't think a lot of people talk about. And I feel like hustle culture in itself is a scam. It teaches us that our only worth is what we do, and it punishes rest. It punishes relaxation. In this culture, rest is rebellion. Recovery is resistance. This no days off idea is an absolute nightmare. We need time to restore our energy. Making people work nonstop is a form of psychological torture. Chasing success without rest will cost you your health, and stop glorifying burning yourself out and injuring yourself in the name of ambition. The idea of not being able to retire just makes this seem pointless. One income has to be enough to survive. I just don't understand why it's not. Hustle culture is just capitalism glorifying overwork for the benefit of the system. Women, I think, especially aren't built for this hustle culture trap. We're not biologically wired to work nonstop. Our hormones are cyclical and they follow a monthly cycle. I honestly think that discipline is a trap. I have stuck it out through the worst of it and it's gotten me nowhere. And besides getting burnt out. Hustle culture honestly feels demonic to me. I mean, most religions have a day of rest that is observed, and I think hustle culture is against most religions. Working all day long just isn't worth it. Hustle culture leads to isolation and loneliness. We are trying to win a game that shouldn't even be played in the first place. Being a playable character in a rigged game is worse than being an NPC. Life is an endless repetitive cycle. Most with money don't grind like the average person. They move things around and somehow make money. Earth provides everything we need. Humans put a price tag on natural resources because they want control. So many households punish you for not being frenetic at all times. Rest is punished in a lot of cultures. Hyper-individualism is the ruination of this country, honestly. Everyone is so focused on being independent, but no one is happy. We are community starved. We are connection starved. I feel like the hamster wheel is a sustainable torture. It's tolerable enough that we don't jump out of it. Entrepreneurship has more variables with feasts and famines, but most people don't want the punishments of a free life aligned with your soul as opposed to the comfort of being a slave. And how many of us neurospicy people don't know if we'll ever find employment again? Like, being neurodivergent is already a job in and of itself, let alone actually maintaining employment on top of that, which is very difficult. A lot of it seems like making excuses, but most employers don't want to work with us. People who subscribe to the system believe that morality and godliness is suffering. People associate godliness and divinity with suffering, and humility and humiliation are one of the same to these people. I really don't subscribe to that. Maybe my purpose is accepting where I am in my life and being present. I don't want to miss the whole point of life. When it comes to looks, I've never been a baddie. I'm not deformed or anything, but I'm definitely not super hot. I honestly can't be bothered to look my best. Confidence is quiet, insecurity is loud. I just want to go home to a place that no longer exists, it seems. The average person's life has gone off a cliff, in other words. And I know everyone is like, God has a plan for you, but like, okay, because is he open to feedback? Because at this point, his plan is looking pretty much worse than what my plan was for myself. So I'd appreciate it if his lessons would hurry up, because I'm so tired of being stuck on this level. When will hardworking people realize that they are disposable pawns in this capitalistic regime? The thing is, even if I spend unhealthy amounts of time trying to improve, I still end up below average. Sometimes enough is enough, and it's okay to be satisfied with what you have. Our nervous systems are not built to be activated all the time. Workaholism is a trauma response, and it's not healthy. Work is psychological slavery. I rebuke hustle culture. One job should be enough to sustain us. Side hustles should be optional, not necessary. We should measure human life like not like we are production robots in a production pipeline, but based on the value of our souls. And sleep deprivation culture and promoting exhaustion makes regular functioning absolutely impossible, and it just promotes chronic disease. It's a recipe for chronic disease. Remember team no sleep? Like, hell no, it's not something I subscribe to, and that's all I have to say about it. Decentering work doesn't mean you're lazy, it means you refuse to let work consume your entire life. Being indispensable to a company just means that you're willing to sell your soul. From now on, I'm going to put in my good habits and detach myself from the outcome. If I do the behaviors I'm supposed to do, the results will come on their own time. I don't know if I'm not following the right path or if I haven't followed the right path for long enough, and it's difficult to know the difference between that. I want to learn and love the process and just do the work. Perfection is the enemy of action. Perfectionism gets nothing done, and it's a mediocre trait to have. I realize that I'm not special, and if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. I think we all need to come to terms with the fact with how ordinary we actually are. The only competition is who you were yesterday. Sometimes I feel broken for not being successful by any metric, but I have succeeded in surviving so much, and I have hardly scratched the surface of my life. Through steady routine and patience, who knows where I will be in 5 to 10 years. For me, success would look like feeling secure in myself and being financially independent. Bit by bit, I will get there. And until next time, guys, I'm really glad that you guys stuck it out for this long, if you're still watching. But basically, that's kind of the video today. It's about the difficulty of realizing that you're not special. And it's kind of like that Radiohead song, I want to be special, so fucking special, but I'm a creep, I'm a loser. And I think that song is pretty pertinent to a generational curse that we all inherited, I think, of basically entering into a game that was already half completed by other players by the time we spawned in. And when you're spawning into a game where everyone's already at a higher level, there's a very difficult grind ahead of you just to maintain survival in that environment. It's very dangerous. But if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and like this video. I really appreciate all of that. And if you guys relate to this content, then please leave a comment about your story about realizing that you weren't ultra special, or that maybe you were a gifted child, but you never lived up to your potential, and you've realized that you can't get ahead in the same way you used to, and that this life is a lot different than you thought it would be. So anyway, thank you guys so much. My name is Shelby. I exist and I make stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.